Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Sports Hub podcast. Before we go into the episodes, please make sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. This week, England went riot in Rome, a 4-0 victory against Ukraine. They're the favourites to win the Euros, and Martin is absolutely ecstatic about it. Let Martin talk about it. It's essentially my tactic just now because his reaction is absolutely fantastic. So, Martin, what's happening at Euro 2020?
And then there were four. Now we have three teams that I don't mind winning and one team that I really don't want to win.
Martin, I know you don't want Bruce to win the sweepstake.
I didn't want that either. There's two teams that I don't want to win now. Gosh. It's going to be Italy or Spain now, surely. Well, the team that I had was Belgium, and they quite pitifully fell out against Italy. I thought they had chances and they had opportunities. Donnarumma, though, different class to get through. So we'll quickly go over the four games in the last round before we talk about the semis and who we think will proceed. So, anybody watch the Italy-Belgium game? I think that was the tie of the round, surely.
I thought so. Best game by far. The Belgium-Italy game was a clash of cultures at the end, but at the beginning, both teams went for it, and that's what made it such an enjoyable game. On top of the talent on display, the Italian diving and acting, play acting, was annoying, but at the end, you only had to commend them because they saw that game out with their tactics, and that's typical Italy. So, on one hand, I wish that they didn't do the play acting, but it's very Italian and it's what they do. So, yeah, good on them. They got through, and I think they are going to win the whole thing.
I would say so. I thought it's very stereotypical of the Italians in coming up and right to the referee constantly. No pineapple on pizza. And Bruce, did you watch the game?
I did, in amongst everything else. But yeah, obviously, at times it was looking like Belgium were fighting to come back. But the Italian Stallions were just a powerhouse. They were. Really enjoyed watching it though. Compared to I didn't catch much of the Spain-Switzerland game. I caught the penalties at the end, but no, I really enjoyed the Italy-Belgium game.
The player that stood out for me in the Italy-Belgium game is actually a player who's no longer in the competition. Doku. Bright spark. Every time he had the ball, he was running at people, he was getting past people, he was making things happen. I don't know how Lukaku missed that one, where right at the end, where it's kind of came over there to the Italian defender, and it just couldn't fall for him again. But it could quite easily have been a final, that game, I think, for the way the games are set up. Looking at the other games, Bruce, you mentioned the Swiss-Spain game. How lucky was Spain to go through?
Mm-hmm. I think Spain's a good team. I think it was actually Graham Souness who said that Spain are a striker away from being a formidable team. I would totally agree with that. They create so many chances and don't finish them. They actually remind me of Argentina in reverse, in the sense of Argentina had goal scorers galore and then weren't solid at the other end, whereas Spain's like the reverse of that. Until they go Congo.
But James, I didn't watch the game. Obviously, I mentioned that I just saw the penalties. But the narrative from looking at the overall picture from, as I didn't see it, but to go to penalties against a 10-man Swiss team, that doesn't seem formidable to me, mate.
Well, I said they were a striker away from being formidable, but again, look at the quality of chances created, and Spain should have won the game easily. So the narrative is Spain have a good striker, they go through without having it to go to extra time, never mind penalties.
I think the only one that's is it who's the number 7 that they keep saying is a striker, but he's useless. Morata.
Well, Morata is. I don't know what number he is, but yeah, he is.
He's worse than Werner. He is. Every time the ball goes to him, it's either going to go wide or he's offside, or he's just expecting him to miss every time he gets it. And the manager's actually put all his faith in him. Said, I just need to pick my other 10 players. I know Morata's going to play. I got to agree with James that they're a striker short. I mean, they managed to get Laporte in. They just need to get somebody like...
That's quite unfortunate when the whole point is to put the ball in the back of the net, though, isn't it? Like...
look at
somebody to finish it, then that's quite unfortunate.
Well, they're still in the semi-finals of the European Championship, so they're not that bad. But they could just do with it.
Switzerland.
Yes, I mean the penalties after Busquets hit the post in the first penalty, you just sort of you thought Switzerland would have enough to see it through, but the young lad, I can't remember the boy's name, sailing it over the bar at the last penalty.
Because
he'll remember that for years.
I thought Ryan took the penalty.
Because obviously we've got our group chat, and like after every penalty it was like, oh, it's going to be Switzerland, oh, it's going to be Spain, oh, it's going to be Switzerland, oh, it's going to be Spain.
Yeah. and it was like that.
I was surprised nobody said it's going to be Brazil. Chucking all these different.
But at no point, was it like stand out? Was it? It was kind of touch and go for a bit. Which, so as manager of Spain, would that bother you? Like how touch and go it was at times?
Well, of course it's going to bother you because you want to win the game comfortably, just as another team did in the semi or in the quarter-final, which I'm sure Martin will be going on to soon. But Spain created chances. They wouldn't be panicking, but they would want better finishing from the team.
I think the other thing to take into account is the amount of games that are going to extra time and penalties. I mean, it's really no helping the teams having to play an extra half hour. Obviously, it's got the depth of squad to sort of take into it. But you're wanting to win your game in the 90 minutes. You really only want to get an extra half hour of the game, especially how intense some of the games can be. So the other game that was won a little bit more comfortably than the Spain game, Denmark and the Czech Republic. Obviously, the Czech Republic beating Scotland early doors. We've seen them firsthand. How good are Denmark? Are Denmark capable of going on for and winning this?
Oh.
Yes.
Are you basing this on anything other than the fact that you got Denmark in the sweepstake, Bruce?
I am basing this purely on the fact that I have got Denmark in the sweepstake because, as we all know, when I am supporting somebody, I will support them 110%. I'm supporting them that much. I didn't even watch the Czech Republic game, but that's not here. That's neither here nor there. That money in that sweepstake is coming to me.
I think it's going to Mitchell's mother.
I think James, you're not paid to think.
I think Gavin's friend has got Spain.
Yeah.
Shahan's got England.
Do you know who it's not going to? Martin.
Unfortunately not. Although after pulling Belgium, I thought it was in for a winner there. But Denmark look a solid team. They will create chances. They have got people that put the ball in the net. Obviously, missing Eriksen. Eriksen would have been a massive influence on the games. He is the best player they have, and losing him in the first game of the tournament is a massive blow. Not to mention the way it happened. But I think the Czech Republic have done well. I think they've got as far as they were likely to get. I think you've got to sort of congratulate Czech Republic for getting as far as they did more than anything else.
I would think so. I think when Scotland fans were talking about qualification, it was England and Croatia being the top two and the Czech Republic being fourth.
Yeah.
So for the Czech Republic to reach the quarterfinals, it shows that
Croatia.
Yeah, they did okay. Every team in Scotland's group made the quarterfinals. Did they? No.
Croatia went through.
Well, that I was trying to make Scotland's exit sound a little bit more heroic than it was. No.
Well, you even go. I think Mitchell put in the group chat about the group of death. Nobody in the group of death has got anywhere in it. They're all out. Germany, Portugal, France, and Hungary, obviously. But they were talked about as ones likely to win, and they've even got past the quarters.
Yeah.
So on to the last game of the round.
Martin's favourite.
So the Ukraine bottle merchants. I've got issues. I've got issues with the game. Obviously, I think the keeper had a couple of howlers. The second goal, that was never a free kick. Harry Kane bought the free kick. And I don't know what happened to the defender in the corner for the last goal. I think they had already gave up the ghost at 2-0. But let's say about the better. So next thing we're talking about.
Martin, you said last goal, and then you said 2-0. No. The last goal would have been making it 3-0 to 4-0. I think you must have tongued off the game.
No, the game was on. I was in a pub in Loch Lomond, and every time there was a goal scored, there was England fans through one side of the bar, and I was through the other side, and I would shout profanities every time somebody scored, and they'd have to apologise to the people around me. I mean, England are set up all right. They have stayed defensive. They've stayed with their two defensive midfielders, which you kind of thought they might go a bit more adventurous. Sancho playing his first game. They've got a definite mix of young players going forward, and they've actually managed to keep them fresh. Grealish hasn't played a lot of minutes. Sancho's not played a lot of minutes. Foden's not really played a lot of minutes. Mount's not played a lot of minutes. You've got a lot of players there that are in there to impress, but I don't think they've not had a massive challenge yet.
Would you say the quality of the England team?
No.
No, wait. Let me finish my question. Would you say the quality of the performances have been what you've expected from that England team? Because I think they've been poor and they've kind of scraped by here and there.
I think
compared to how I expected them to play, I think at times it's not been anywhere near as good as they could have been.
I think that they're certainly. I think the way Southgate set up, he's not set up for expansive winning football to push forward at all costs. He's set up with a defensive team. I mean, especially against Germany, he had I think it was 7 defensive-minded players on the pitch, in my opinion, and 8 actually, I think. But that's going to change game per game. He still went defensive against Ukraine because why change a system that's working?
Okay, so thanks for giving me the Tory Prime Minister answer. What I'm asking is, has the quality of the performances been as good as you expected, as you would expect?
As far as expansive football goes, no, because you've got a lot of young, talented players that I reckon would set up a lot of goals, and I don't think they've been let loose enough. But Southgate's no set up like that. Southgate's went defensive. He's kept clean sheets all the way through. But I would like them to play a team that's going to actually challenge them a bit more, because I don't think they've had a massive. I mean, the closest game they've had has been against Scotland.
Am I right in saying that we're the only team that they've not beaten in the tournament?
Yes.
Go Scotland.
I'm not going to celebrate a draw with England. I refuse to. I was probably one of the few ones that was disappointed at the end of the game that we still didn't win. I'll not be celebrating a draw with them. even as much as it does. It is fun watching pundits such as Ian Wright talk about it after the game, almost bubbling. But yes, James, did you watch the Ukraine-England game?
I did.
Thoughts on the game?
England, by far the better team. They were getting better each game, which is what you want to do in a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that this is Sancho's first appearance in the tournament, and he played very well. They managed. You were talking about extra time in that extra half an hour. England played 60 minutes yesterday, and then they were giving players time off.
Ukraine stopped. I think they stopped at 2-0. Just didn't see put a fight against that.
So England got an extra half an hour yesterday of freshness. No, they were a good team. You can't deny it, and they didn't even play Foden or Grealish yesterday, and won quite comfortably. And Germany had 2 good chances, and if they took them, it's a different equation. But Bruce was asking about, are the performances as good as you'd expect? I would say yes. It's the way that they play. And why go gung-ho when you've got that attacking talent to probably unlock a defence? Keep a clean sheet, you're probably going to win the game.
So James, England's performances in this tournament have blown you away?
No.
They've blown your socks off?
They've done the job. And no team's blown me away this tournament. So they've won every game on expected goals. England have, even against
Scotland. I'm so glad that expected goals win the trophy at the end of the tournament, right enough.
Yeah, but keeping clean sheets and scoring goals does, and that's what England have done in every game, bar one game where they didn't score a goal, and they should have scored. John Stones missed an absolute sitter against Scotland. So England, if they win it, then they're going to be one of the teams that do deserve to win it, because they have been one of the best teams in the tournament. Them and Italy have probably been the 2 better teams, and that's who should be the final.
Fucking hate agreeing with you, James. Unfortunately, it pains me to say they'll go against Denmark though, because it always ends. So next game is coming up
against Denmark, 100%.
So you've got England, Denmark. So let's go over this. Denmark's going to walk it, surely.
I'll let Bruce go first.
Again, as always, I'm only basing this on the fact that I have monetary gain out of this. Denmark are going to win the Euros, and therefore are going to put England at. Also, I'm not a big fan of England, if anybody knows. So, yeah, I don't see, as I say, like England haven't blown me away this tournament. So, I think Denmark. I think Denmark will dig in, and I think Denmark will, try and get a result out of it, and I think that's enough. I think that's enough to get a result against England.
You think trying hard and digging in is enough to get the result? Isn't that what Ukraine did? Isn't that what Germany did? Isn't that what the Czech Republic did? Isn't that what Croatia did? And isn't that what Scotland did?
What to look better for Scotland? Scotland
should have won it.
Scotland should not have won that game.
Yes, they should have.
No, they should have. England had the 2 best chances. 2 best chances of that game fell to England.
And they didn't finish them. Now the Scotland, but I still think Scotland were digging, and I think if Denmark do the same, I think they'll edge a win over England.
Digging and digging, just like no other team digs.
I mean, Denmark are obviously a lot better quality than Ukraine. I think I actually looked at Ukraine and thought, can Scotland really gave Ukraine a game? I didn't think watching the Ukraine-Sweden game to get the Ukraine through to that game, I thought Sweden were a much better team. So I think your luck has to run out in tournaments. I think Denmark are a decent team. They're still they're 10th best in the world, according to the FIFA rankings that I don't really go by, but I keep mentioning them. Unfortunately, England are 4th best in the world, so there is 6 places to make up there. England have got the most valuable team in the whole of Euros. It's probably due to the inflated prices of the Premiership more than anything else. But
Martin, what do you think? What do you think? How do you think the
Denmark will win it.
Denmark is going to fare?
I think England will not change the setup. They'll still play with 2 sets of defensive midfielders. They'll have one of the 3 wingers on, and if it doesn't work after 60 minutes, they'll put another winger on. And unfortunately, they've got extremely good wingers that they can swap about and have. I think if Denmark can get an early goal or a goal, you'll actually see England come out and start the attack games, which I don't think they really have. I don't think they've had to. Maybe the second half of the Germany game, if anything, when Grealish came on, they sort of attacked a bit more. But I think Denmark are a good enough team. My issue is Denmark's best player isn't going to be playing, obviously. Goalkeeper-wise, a great goalie, they're a solid defensive line. They have got skill, they have got ability. They're in the semi-finals for a reason. I think when you looked at the group at the start, obviously they lost the first game to Finland. Apart from that, they have been a decent team through it, and I definitely don't expect England walkover. And I think it should be a close game. And I'm just hoping that Denmark have got enough in the tank. James, let's hear your assessment of the future in the England-Denmark game.
I think England will have too much for Denmark.
Of course you do.
I'm not supporting England. I just think England are a better team than Denmark. I think England's one of the best teams in the world, and I think you just have to acknowledge that and say that they're a very good team and should be winning this game.
Agreed.
But
should have France and so should have Belgium been through this stage though, because they're the 2 best teams in the world, supposedly.
Exactly, but if so when I was talking about the digging in that, like what I was also referring to was like if Denmark are hungry for it, like are you trying to say, James, that like if Denmark are the hungrier, then they're not going to still not going to come out with a result?
England's going to be hungry. They're going to have 2/3 of Wembley behind them. Right,
but hungrier than a team who want to
make history.
Hungrier than like Denmark, who want to beat obviously England, who are fourth in the world.
Yeah,
like they want to prove something against a bigger, there's no doubt how good England are and like the quality they have, but like Denmark will want to come out and prove a point.
Right. England will turn up for a semi-final at Wembley on the verge of making history for a final at Wembley. England will turn up.
I think to look at what benefits Denmark might have, definitely not obviously the capacity stadium. I think I'm not sure what amount of fans are allowed in. I don't think Southgate's got a good game plan to start the game, but definitely against Scotland and a couple of the other games, he just didn't change it. If he saw it sort of going against him, he didn't change things. So I think that could suit Denmark tactically if they can figure out a way to pin them back. But you are needing your keeper Schmeichel and your defence to have a great game, because they're even their wing backs. Shaw had a great game against Ukraine. Unfortunately, England are favourites, but favourites don't always win, which I'm still back in Denmark.
Exactly.
So next game, again,
Italy.
another quite possible final in this. Italy, after playing Belgium, drew Spain. We've spoken about Spain's inability to finish chances, but the amount of chances they're creating, they're still putting some away. The amount of chances they're creating is phenomenal. But that Italy back line, I think Spain have to be a bit more prolific in front of the goal. I don't think they're going to have as many chances as they have in the past. Not against the Italian back line anyway.
That's what I think. I think Spain have to take their chances when they come. Thus far, they really haven't done that. That's why I think Italy will go through.
Italy are performing like they're phenomenal this tournament, and yeah, I don't see Spain. Again, we're talking about the chances they create and everything, but if you're not going to finish the ball in the back of the net, like the Italian Stallions are just they're. I
thought Stalin was Russian.
Stalin.
But yeah, so I can't see past Italy for the Italy-Spain game.
Russia's who I got in the sweepstake.
And how's that going for you?
Well, not well.
Anyway,
and just to pick you up, I don't think Stalin was Russian.
Is it?
No, I think he was Georgian.
Yugoslavian or something.
Georgian. Which was Russia?
Yugoslavian.
Georgian. So yes, nearly a good joke.
Almost. To be fair, I think the 3 or 4 listeners we've got, nobody would have picked up. Anyway.
Like I have.
The listeners we get, there's quite a few now. I've yet to be mobbed in the street yet.
It's a good feeling.
So I know the sort of mobs that go after you, James. And
I was going to say, we're not talking about eggs and bricks and everything, James.
Right. That is more likely to be a McDonald's milkshake. So,
yeah.
Are we all thinking Italy over Spain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With an Italy-Denmark final.
I think Italy will turn up with Spain with more dig, more hunger. Italy will dig their way to the final. Mm-hmm.
That is so.
That's a rather big tunnel, if I must add.
Oh, Wembley to Wembley.
Aye.
There's already a lap there. It's called the London Underground.
So, who are we thinking for winning the tournament? Obviously, that's the semi-final stage, so it's only the 1 of the 4 teams. I don't think I've even got the ball asking Bruce who he thinks is going to win the tournament. James, who you actually think looks like a team that have got a bit of everything to win the next 2 games?
I think the final will be Italy v England, and I think it will be a coin toss, the final. Literally, it could go either way. Both teams have played well, are improving as the tournament goes along. And I think, it will just be a fascinating game of football if that's the final. I said coin toss. Obviously, heads will be England because, the Queen's on the head. But the other side, the tail side.
The Queen gives what?
But I think, it could go either way. But if I had to be pressed on it, I would say Italy.
I am going to unfortunately agree with James. So with my non-monetary gain hat on, so I think it is going to be an Italy-Denmark final. I think Italy will take it, but that's okay because I still increase my money 5-fold if Denmark comes second. So that's okay.
Do you know we scrap that second thing away? Yes, James.
Why will Denmark not have the same dig and hunger in the final?
They will have the same dig and hunger, but Italy are better than England.
I think looking through the teams, obviously Pickford's had a great tournament so far, so you can see anything.
I would point out that he was starting to look wobbly last night.
Yeah, I had a slice.
A slice, and then after it, he was pushing a few things.
Dropped slightly. I think Donnarumma is a much better keeper. His move to PSG hopefully pushes him on a bit, because I do fancy him to be a great keeper in the future. Across the back,
you're eating into my topic already. Will you stop it?
across the back, I don't think there's a better centre half pairing than Italy's. Even in midfield, I think the Italian midfield's a bit better. I think England have probably got a bit more attacking players, the four teams left. But I kind of see past Italy. I think Italy have created enough, and they've probably been one of the few teams that have actually impressed me over the tournament. Even looking at France, Belgium probably did early doors. Spain at times, I think they had a 5-0 win. But no, I've not seen any teams that have had more than one or two games impressing. But Italy have managed to keep up that. So I think Italy to win. But really, anybody but England, anybody.
Including Denmark.
Yes, I include Denmark within that statement. I think even if they get to the final in the review, then to be fair. So.
I'm so disappointed.
I'm not angry, just disappointed.
Well, that's why the silence was there. But talking about I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. Nuno has...
And James, can you remember right at the start of this when Mourinho left, and the first podcast after it, the first name that I said was Nuno. Maybe less than 5 days after the sacking, and it took how many days to actually appoint him?
74, which sprint compared to Celtic's marathon. So my teams are doing well just now.
So Mark, are you pitching for a job on the Tottenham board? Is this what's happening?
No, I'd like to be in a job where you actually win something.
You win some revenue in your pockets. Other than that,
yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, there's been 3 managerial appointments in the Premier League this week. One being Nuno becoming Tottenham manager. One being Patrick Vieira joining Crystal Palace, and then the other being Rafa Benitez becoming Everton manager, a team that he described as a small club when he was
That's a great appointment.
So I think that's where we will begin. Not so, I don't want to talk about Nuno. I will have my thoughts on it.
You do. You need to get out. Vent.
But yes, let's start with Rafa becoming Everton manager. Do you think Everton fans will take to him becoming manager?
I honestly think that football fans are extremely fickle, and I think if he starts winning things, which I believe he's got the ability to do. I mean, I think Everton have. They're one of the teams that are trying to get from that mid-team table to that sort of top 6 team. They have started pushing about it. I mean, Ancelotti coming in was a massive signing. Obviously, Real Madrid is a massive blow for him to go to. But they've started bringing in players. They've started sort of pushing the boat out to make that squad a little bit stronger. There is a couple of gaps in the team that I think needs improved, but they've got potential. I mean, there's a lot of investment that's went in there. And Rafa is a top manager. It depends on what style of football you like. I mean, at Liverpool, he got them a Champions League, and I don't think anybody, the seasons that they won that, were thinking that they're of that ability, but it was his team that managed to get there. But that's the issue. He was with Liverpool in the Champions League, and now he's away at Everton. It's a difficult one for the Everton fans to take. Whether there'll be a lot of complaints about the first 5-6 games, and then it'll just peter out, or if they will continue to complain about it until he leaves. I think they're fickle enough to, as soon as they start winning games, they'll soon forget him.
So here I come to trigger James. So James, as we all know, football is a results-driven business. Results-driven. And if the man in charge, Rafa, gets results and pushes Everton up the table, so they're challenging for the title and in that top 6, then I feel that the fans will probably be on board with that, because the team is making progress and they're making results and they're getting up to that kind of European qualification towards Champions League, winning trophies, pushing towards the top of the Prem. Happy days. We all want our team to do the best they can do, and we all want our team to win as many games as possible. And if Rafa is winning the games, bringing in the points, then I don't think the Everton fans will have an issue with that.
James, I'll let you go first, because I'm going to shout out Bruce after you.
I'm not sure. If they keep winning and winning and winning, then I can see that argument. But they're not going to keep winning and winning. They're going to do a tough spell. And I think once that tough spell comes, the fans will turn and say, why have you got a manager who called us a small club managing us? We are a big club, we're an ambitious club, and we've got somebody who thinks we're a small club in charge. And the other thing that I find concerning, even though I'm not an Everton fan, is it doesn't appear that the director of football appointed Benitez. It appears that the owner appointed Benitez, and that's not a good start.
Terrible start.
Terrible start. There's going to be no consistency. They're going to contradict each other. There's going to be no philosophy. He's going to get players who don't suit his style. And things are going to become very hostile very quickly. Fans don't like him already. It's going to be an unhappy ending, in my opinion.
I think you've got to take, first of all, on to Bruce's point, I would not be paying for a season ticket to watch a team pump the ball up the pitch and try to play with the second ball all season. That's not football for me. That's not football for a lot of football fans. And to say that they're just going to go there to watch a team win 1-0 in a pish game, that's not what a lot of football fans do. Maybe for terrible clubs like the Rangers, but not for actual football fans who will sit and talk about football and life and soul being football. There is a massive thing. There's a massive thing in style of football. Exactly, and there is a style of football that has tried to keep going, and there has been managers coming in. Bobby Wilson was one who tried to change the style of football. You are still going to lose games, but if you're going to lose games, you lose it with a style of football that you're wanting to play, not the pish, pump up the park and let other teams be better than you. And there's a lot of football fans in the same boat as that. On to James's point, yes, the director of football not appointing him is a massive thing. Benitez at Newcastle, did he do all right? Did not really. I think it was more the fact that they couldn't get the players in, but the manager's job is to deal with what he's got there. I do believe, though, that he will start to get results in for Everton. Whether I don't think it's the same style of manager as Ancelotti is, which then means, look, have you got the players and the facilities to do his style of football? It's a difficult one, because that's going to be a massive disruption for the squad to change their style as well, which other teams have sort of went for the same style of manager to keep the process going with what they have.
Martin.
Yes, Bruce.
Evening. At no point did I mention anything about style of play. So all I mentioned was that if it is a results-driven business, and results keep the fans happy. If Rafa Benitez brings in
it's
results,
not just results that keeps fans happy, though.
Wait. If Rafa Benitez brings in results, I think the Everton fans will forget about what he said about Everton when he was Liverpool manager. That's all I said. I never mentioned style of play, and then you mentioned, I think Rafa Benitez will bring in results. That's the same thing.
I think he will bring in results.
That's the same point. So all you've done is mention something I didn't mention and then agree with me.
I will agree with you as little as I can. That's just the relationship you have, Bruce.
So your point was invalid?
No,
my point is very valid.
It wasn't invalid. There is a difference between results and performance.
Well, but all I was talking about was bringing in results. I didn't mention anything about performance or style of play.
Are Everton going to win the league?
No, they're not.
But
will they be top 6? Maybe, possibly.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably not. Maybe, possibly. There is always that element.
Yeah, and you need to be at least top 6 for the fans to get on side.
Well, exactly.
So,
if he manages to strike lucky and bring in some results, probably through good performances, but who knows, then I think the fans will forget what he said and they'll be on side.
Yeah, so we'll agree to disagree on that one. So this time next year, will Benitez be Everton manager? Bruce, yes or no?
Yes.
Martin?
Nope.
Me? No. So the Sport Huds podcast thinks Benitez will not be Everton manager this time next season. So on to the next manager appointed this week. Patrick Vieira as Crystal Palace manager. He needs prayers. That's all I'm going to say before I pass over to Martin. He's managing a team that makes Celtic look like we have a full squad.
Yes.
So do you think, is he the right successor for Hodgson?
No. Look, it was a player. I have issues with great players turning into managers because I don't think I think it's difficult for them to get players to play to their level. They were naturally great players, so it's difficult to teach somebody what you naturally had. Tactician, possibly. I mean, he was a player in the centre of the park that was just hard, great quality in him. Senegal born, still managed to win the World Cup with France. I just don't. I think you need a bit more experience there. I mean, you need somebody who. And I do not understand why they didn't fill the position so much earlier. I mean, they could have 2 months before the end of the season. I mean, they knew Hodgson was leaving. 2 months before the end of the season, had something set in place, had somebody behind the scenes starting to get the team sorted out because they've left it far too late for a lot of the players that have already left. And now they've got to rebuild a team to a manager whose style, I don't care what his style's like. What was his last club, Nice?
Quite pragmatic, but will attack teams lower than them, will be more defensive against teams above them.
I think it does benefit a manager to a degree where he hasn't got another team there. He's not got somebody else's players. He can go in and just, I don't think he'll be opening the checkbook, but he'll have to get his own players in. Sometimes when a manager comes in, he's got the last manager's team that he's having to work with. So that might benefit him to a degree, but it's a new team to try and gel in a short space of time. Obviously, you've got international break as well, so I don't think they have many players that are of international quality, to be fair. But trying to gel a team like that so quickly for the start of a season, it's a difficult one for a young manager.
Bruce, Patrick Vieira, right manager for Crystal Palace?
I'm looking forward to seeing him as Crystal Palace manager. I'm one for not so much the underdog story, but I would quite like to see what he can do with the lack of players he has available to him. But also, yeah, I would like to see how that plays out, because Martin, as you said, he was a fantastic player. But it's how he then takes that and hopefully develops Crystal Palace. I am quite excited about it, but just to see what comes out of it, more than anything else.
I think if you're going for an experienced manager and Crystal Palace, you may as well go for Ted Lasso.
Should have done it. They should have done it.
Should have done
Had
it.
the chance.
They did. But again, I'm of the thinking that this appointment just reminds me of one of the De Boer brothers who became Crystal Palace manager, Frank De Boer, was sacked after 4 games with 4 defeats. It just, the way that I imagine Patrick Vieira's teams playing doesn't match my way that I think Crystal Palace play. And I think somebody like Sean Dyche would have been a much better appointment.
Yes.
They've decided to modernise, I guess, and modernise the playing style, more expansive. But I don't think it will work. So I'm going to say Patrick Vieira will not be Crystal Palace manager this time next season.
It's quite funny because for those who maybe hasn't realised already, although everybody's realised, Martin has an issue to control his face. And when James was talking, Martin's face was doing these weird things.
It's not only when I'm talking, Bruce. But no,
yeah, so you don't look at my face while you're talking, Bruce.
Exactly.
Bruce, will Patrick Vieira be Crystal Palace manager this time next season?
Yes.
Yes. Martin?
I don't think he'll be manager at Christmas.
So that's the Sports Hub podcast saying Patrick Vieira will not be manager of Crystal Palace by this time next season. And then the final appointment made by the Premier League team this week. Who was it again? Nuno has become Tottenham manager after 74 days of searching, linked with, 12 managers.
Just 12?
Just the 12.
If they had followed Martin's advice, they would have appointed 5 days after searching.
If they followed my advice, they wouldn't have been searching for that length of time. But yes, Nuno, I will obviously have views about this, but I'll let Bruce, you can go first. Is Nuno the right appointment for Tottenham compared to the other names linked to the job? The numerous scroll of names that have been linked to the job.
Are we allowed to mention he who shall not be named?
Yes, you're allowed to mention.
Or are you going to get all upsetty about it?
I'm not going to get upset.
Okay. So Graham Potter would have been a good appointment.
Oh, wait, Graham Potter.
Graham Potter would have been a good appointment. It would have kept James happy.
A dagger right through my heart.
So that Graham Potter's got to Arsenal.
And by the way, if Arteta doesn't start the season well, I would not be surprised if Potter becomes Arsenal manager.
Yeah.
Why would you just like to dash any others' hopes and dreams just while we're here, Martin? Do you know what I mean? Like that's no fair.
No, I'll wait till the next subject for that.
Eddie Howe will become Brighton manager.
Do I think Nuno? No, I think Graham Potter would have been a better fit, James.
No.
But do you not think so? Do you not think so at all?
No.
Nice step up for him to prove himself.
Up?
Well, nay. Do I think Nuno will do a decent job? I think he'll do all right. But again, we'll just have to wait and see how the season plays out, won't we? Because Other clubs will be constantly improving as well. So
that was a lovely amount of sitting on a fence there, Bruce. So big Nuno at the helm. I think what will happen is, look, at the end of the day, the last manager was a counter-attacking manager, and I said before, if you're going to keep the same team, the same setup, you're going to swap for another counter-attacking manager. Is he a manager that is going to go up to Harry Kane and tell Harry Kane to stay and Harry Kane to listen? No. So he's got another team to sort of build. He's going to lose players, but I'm pretty sure half of the Portugal squad will come in and fill the gaps. He's a counter-attacking football. I mean, Wolves played well at some point last season. Not a lot of the games. Actually, not last season. The season before they done all right. Yeah. James, you looking forward to it? You looking forward to Nuno?
No.
Martin, I was being nice.
Yeah, that's just not me.
The boys have a very sensitive disposition at the moment.
My problem with Nuno is that it's just lacks imagination. We have went from a counter-attacking manager to a counter-attacking manager, and if you could pick Mourinho or Nuno, you'd have Mourinho every other day of the week. So why downgrade to have? I don't even know. It's like you can have the 5-star Mourinho or the 2-star Mourinho, and we've went, let's have the 2-star Mourinho.
So,
because
so James, your issue with Nuno is Nuno.
No, it's not Nuno. It's Daniel Levy's lack of imagination. Why did they sack Mourinho? Because performances were not good and results weren't great. Because Tottenham's a team that needs to attack to get results because teams sit back. So we're going to appoint somebody who plays counter-attacking football the way that Mourinho did, because that's going to get us results and play progressive football. And Daniel Levy said, we want somebody who has a track record of progressing youth players into the first team. How many youth players got into the Wolves first team under Nuno? I can't think of any. So
not very many.
No, none at all, except from the one that Jorge Mendes bought for £30 million from Porto and only got into the team after Jimenez got injured and hardly scored any goals afterwards. So, yeah, what's the point of having a director of football when Jorge Mendes is going to be buying the team? May as well make him director of football.
Martin, are you taking the soapbox away or am I?
Dad, just let him go for another 5 minutes.
No, but it is... everyone knew I wanted Graham Potter. It's not a surprise. A spade's a spade, as they say. But it's not even the fact that we didn't go for Graham Potter, even though he was obviously the best candidate. It's the fact that we just went for what we got, but a worse version of it. It's so infuriating. The players will not play for him. He can't control the egos of the team. Doesn't deserve it. Wolves didn't play for him last season, so why should Tottenham play for him this season? I would be surprised if he's manager by Christmas. That's how disappointed I am by this appointment. We'll get knocked out of the Europa League probably, of the Conference League probably, by that train team. We're going to lose Harry Kane. Son will be upset and leave. And then after that, we've got, I don't know, whoever Mendes wants to bring in. Oh, just such lack of imagination from Tottenham. Yeah.
To be honest, James, see if you've got an opinion, just come out and say it.
I know. I've got a few as well, haven't I? To go on the fence. To be fair, if Bruce can hand Nuno the fence that he's sitting on, it'll be better than the fence that Tottenham's got. Bit gusty, it'll blow down, but it's fine. It's better than.
I'm going to say it before anyone else does. I would be surprised if there was any fence left after I sat on it.
I've got a picture of a fence in my head that you're sitting on, and there's not much of it left. But you look at the Spurs team. I mean, you look at Kane's going. I think Kane's after that managerial appointment, I kind of see him staying. Son, Ken, will the Korean decide to go elsewhere? He had a fantastic relationship with Kane. I think it all depends on what Spurs are going to do to replace Kane. Are they going to go for another budget replacement? It seems to be Levy's way.
Be whoever Mendes.
Aye. I do think it'll be budget replacements. Keep the wage bill down. Levy's done extremely well with that.
Who played for Portugal at the Euros? That's who we'll get.
You're still not getting Ronaldo.
No, we're not.
And I think looking at it, it'll be interesting to see what the biggest thing is who's coming in to replace Kane for it. But Nuno is the way forward for Spurs. I think they've just got to take the medicine, see where they're sitting. Look, Arsenal are not going to do very well this season either. Chelsea and Liverpool, Man City, Man United should be on the climb back up depending on who they bring in. I can't see Tottenham finishing top 6 with Nuno.
I can't see them finishing top 10.
Don't mind me, I'm just eating pancakes.
I mean, not surprised. I expected it, but at the same time, when it's happened, it's just filled me with not sadness, but a lot of emotional input went into that appointment in the hope of Graham Potter and
James, has Daniel Levy just like ripped your heart out and chucked it on the ground in front of you?
No, Neil Lennon did that by not Daniel Levy's just stamped on it a few times.
Yeah. I mean, is Nuno just the cheap option?
Yes.
A contract?
Yeah.
Player that he fits the system?
It doesn't fit the system.
Is that what Tottenham do now?
We sacked Mourinho because Mourinho's not the system. So what did we do? Get the budget Mourinho. Oh. And they want to know what bugs me about this as well. Because, and this is...
There's something that bugs you about this?
Yeah. Nuno was on the bench when Porto beat Celtic in the UEFA Cup final. Not that I hold any grudges. Mourinho was the manager, to be fair. So it just... No.
To be fair, imagine what you feel now, but imagine it being a manager that won stuff with Arsenal and a manager that said that Tottenham were a small team. Who's got it worse just now, the Spurs fans or the Everton fans?
Oh, Everton fans will be feeling worse than I am. But don't be surprised in a couple of years if Graham Potter becomes Arsenal manager, gets them back up the league table and then calls Tottenham a small club. That's when the pain will be really felt. Just now, I'm feeling nothing. I'm just an empty void of hopelessness because of Tottenham. Thank you, Daniel Levy. I hope you're watching it.
Some would say you being an empty void of hopelessness is just a default statement.
Yeah, it's true. So Daniel Levy should be doing his best to change it.
Is it just me? I can't hear Martin, but he seems to be doing an awful lot of reacting and stuff.
Yeah, I usually do a lot of that.
Oh, there we are. That's all right. I just wanted to double check. I thought we'd maybe lost you and that was going to cause a bit of an issue.
So, Martin, will Nuno be Tottenham manager this time next season?
Nuno will be Tottenham manager for the next 10 years. He'll there will be a statue outside White Hart Lane with Nuno and his big bushy beard. taking full mantle at the players' entrance.
Is that so the Seagulls can judge him? Thank you. Bruce, without trying to wind me up, will Nuno be Tottenham manager this time next season?
I want to say no. However, we're talking about Daniel Levy, so probably.
So, Sports Hub Podcast does not think unanimously. Let me clarify, does not think unanimously. But the Sports Hub Podcast thinks that Nuno will be Tottenham manager this time next season.
Can we cut that?
And I will.
You've said that.
And I will continue my spell in purgatory. But yes, I hope it was just a rumour. I hope we were still managerless. Pay the £22 million compensation for Graham Potter, please. Please. But before I become desperate and pleading, let's pass over to Bruce to talk about rumours.
Well, you were talking about, you thought it was just a rumour, and here we are with the actual rumours and the rumours that Martin wanted to add in for a laugh. So,
all serious rumours.
So, James, talking about Graham Potter, I wanted to.
That was a twist of the dagger.
And the issue is that's not going to get old for the whole next season. But anyway, talking about Graham Potter, I was seeing that he was after Dan James and Joe Rodon, who he worked with at Swansea.
He could have worked with him at Tottenham.
But he's not wanting to work with him at Tottenham, he's wanting to take him to Brighton.
If you wanted him that much, he would have come Tottenham manager.
Because
that's what I'm telling Tottenham.
But do you think, what do you think about those? So obviously we know you quite like the Brighton setup. We know you like how Graham Potter works, right? Without upsetting you too much. We know you like it. We know you're a big fan of the whole kind of thing at Brighton.
Yes.
What do you think about those two coming into the Brighton setup under Graham Potter, obviously with the previous history at Swansea?
I don't think Dan James would suit the system. I think Lamptey is better at right wing back. I know he's been linked with a move away, but
he's a player. I like him.
He is a player. And if they play 3-5-2, Brighton needs somebody who can be a little bit more defensive than Dan James. So I don't think Dan James is a good move for Brighton. Joe Rodon, I think he'll break into the Tottenham first team, but because Nuno's the manager, he'll be sent out on loan. And I think he'll be a good signing for Brighton.
Good.
The other player that looks like he might be going to Brighton, or was talked about, is a Rangers player, Kamara.
Yep. He'd be a cracking signing for them if what's his name?
Good player.
Moved to somewhere else. So yeah, Kamara would be a good signing. I think he's worth 50 grand, but we'll move on. That was a bargain, by the way. 50 grand for Kamara.
Is that right, James? We're just going to leave that where it lies, all right? Martin, couple of bits of news in your camp.
Yes, Bruce.
Rafael Varane for Real Madrid.
Yes.
Good move for Man United if that.
Yes. I think he's been discussed for years.
Yeah.
With possibilities going to Man United. There's no disputes about Harry Maguire is a decent centre half. He's struggled to get a partnership with anybody. Bailey's been alright. Lindelof's a bomb scare. Bailey's got a bomb scare most of the time as well. So there needs to be a defensive partnership there. And Varane's definitely got the calibre to step in beside Maguire and be the better of the two. But there's a few for Man United.
Well, so I was about to say, with that in mind, did I read that Van de Beek Real Madrid are interested?
Are they looking for somebody to warm the bench?
Maybe it's a cold bench, mate.
If it's in Madrid, I think it'd be quite warm on the bench.
It'll be a warmer bench for him. No point of being there. No point of being at Man United. He's not getting a chance. He's not playing games. He's played a couple. And if you can't push Fred out of the team, you must be pushed.
What do you think of Real Madrid being interested in?
I'd be quite happy for him to go. If he's not settled in the first season, he's not managed to get in the first team, there's no point in being there unless you're actually going to be pushing first team within the first year or two of being there. And he was a player. He's definitely a player that has potential to be a Man United great player, but for some reason Solskjaer hasn't liked him or he's not played.
Right.
Whether this is Solskjaer signing or if it's somebody else has decided, we'll get him, and Solskjaer's just sat on the bench. Guys, quite happy for him to go. What Man United do need is somebody to place Fred because he is dog shit. He's awful.
Martin, as always on the Sport Hut podcast, don't you hold back your feelings. Just you say it as it is, mate.
Look, at the end of the day, there is a lot of transfer stuff that could happen at Man United. De Gea he's been there a long time. In the last couple of seasons, this doesn't happen. Dean Henderson is a possibility, so replacing that. But I reckon Aston Villa's Martinez is the man to take that mantle.
Bruce doesn't. Bruce just left after you mentioned that.
No. Yeah. What we're going to say was, so Martin, you were talking about there's lots of stuff around Man United, but Fred leaving isn't one of them.
Oh, Fred needs to go. Fred's useless. Fred's honestly the amount of times and see what's really annoying. See for Brazil in the Copa America just now, he's doing brilliant. He's one of these players like Pogba. Pogba is shite for Man United, and then he plays for France, and he does great.
Could you just hold up? Could you just honestly see you and me are going to fall out if you jump ahead of the gun one more time? So,
sorry, you've got a script to do. You didn't want anybody Jesus.
Well, no, really. But see if you're going to mention players that I'm about to mention shortly, we're going to fall out. Right. So quickly before we get to Pogba,
how did you think Jordan Sancho played?
Jump over to the other side of the city.
Sancho. Oh, no players at Man United yet.
Grealish, Villa at Man City.
Sancho, Ronaldo. It's a big signings for Man U.
Right, shush. Grealish, Villa at Man City.
Who's this addressed to?
Well, anybody who would like to give an opinion, and we've already heard from Martin, so we're bored of listening to him. James, Grealish, Villa at Man City.
Waste of money. Find somebody else. Done. Move on.
Thanks for your balanced opinion from the Spurs camp. James, Martin.
Yes.
Grealish, Villa at Man City.
No, because Pep wants to rotate players an awful lot in that position, and I don't think he'll play as many minutes as he wants to play. And he is, in my opinion, one of the best players in the league. And another year at Villa, and I reckon he could pick his team to go to.
Brilliant. So, back to Pogba and that whole Frenchie thing.
Oh, this is deja vu. If I have this.
Back to the whole Frenchie thing. PSG are linked to a few players. Obviously,
yes.
Donnarumma, Pogba, Sergio Ramos, Hakimi.
Do they have enough money?
I'm pretty sure they're signing embargoes, and well, they're only allowed to spend so much money now. So whether they can afford all of that as well as the players have got, unless Mbappe's going and Neymar's going.
Oh, there'll be some of them will be free transfers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you can get that deal and offset the cost of Pogba because Man U's paying them to take Fred as well.
I just take half our midfield. I'd like to see Mbappe go somewhere else. I'd actually like to see what his ability levels at, apart from taking terrible penalties. If he go to, it's probably going to be Spain for Mbappe, I would have thought.
To Madrid, to be assistant for Van Beek.
Yeah, will work.
I'm going to jump a bit more, so get your boarding pass. We're jumping on another plane.
Where are we going?
Well, so let's go to Germany.
Germany?
Well,
Germany.
France. Well, only because
Guten
we're going to
Tag.
France to Germany. So Renato Sanchez, Lille to Bayern, a second bite of the cherry, because obviously his first spell at Bayern wasn't very fruitful.
Is that right? Bayern? He did terrible at Swansea.
Well, but he was out on loan left, right, and centre, was he not?
Yeah.
And didn't get much game time. So thoughts of him returning to Bayern?
They've got a buyback clause. If they think it's worth it, they can get him pretty cheaply.
I think
But is it the right move for Bayern?
No, they should avoid the tournament fallacy.
Martin?
International tournament fallacy.
I think he had a better tournament after seeing him play for Swansea and then seeing him in the tournament for Portugal. I thought there's something different. I didn't understand why he didn't work in the Premiership, but he's a player. He's worth a crack on. You've got to remember, if he doesn't play, he'll just sit on the bench, so it's not a massive thing if he doesn't play, and they'll get him cheap anyway.
They signed him after a good Euro 2016. Didn't work, so why sign him after a good Euro 2020?
It's back to this fallacy of players playing a lot better for the country than they do for the club team.
Yep.
And there's a lot of them.
Yep.
Right, we're going to stay in Germany, but we're jumping on a plane to Spain. This is where we need to have a look at this design and graphics team, because they should have us jumping on a plane
in Germany and
left,
go to
right,
Spain.
and we need to improve on the design and graphics team, because they would have us jumping on a plane and it would all look nice and fancy. And
But we were staying in Germany.
Well, so we were just in Germany. We're leaving again.
Okay, we're leaving Germany. You said staying in Germany and moving to Spain.
No, so we're moving from Germany to Spain. So Goretzka, Bayern to Barca. Brilliant. Okay.
That wasn't a question. You just speak.
I wasn't sure.
It's always what is your thoughts? What is your opinion?
On what?
Is it a good move?
Great.
Or either player or club?
How much are they talking about?
As if you have facts and figures.
Bruce didn't write that down.
Come on, just behave yourself.
The reason I'm asking is because if it's actually got a value above 1 cents, it's not happening. Barcelona's free agent FC.
Good. So
I think that's
they'll only take freebies.
James, nobody's interested in you bringing logic to this argument, honestly.
And that's if they can manage to keep Argentina's Messi, who's having a really good Copa America, which isn't like him for his national team.
Yeah.
Okay, so humour me for two more. Let's jump on a plane to Spain, back to England, because I missed this one out.
Oh, 10-day quarantine. 10-day quarantine.
10-day quarantine. We'll see you in 9 days.
Honestly, we're not doing very much for this. Jumping on all these planes, we're not doing very much for climate change. But James Rodriguez to AC Milan.
James.
Yeah.
Well, surely we should be jumping on the plane to Italy.
Yeah, well, we're jumping back to England to then jump on the plane with Rodriguez to Italy, right?
I am clocking up the air miles, I tell you.
You are clocking up these air miles. Thoughts on the move to AC Milan, and will he not feature in Rafa's plans at Everton?
I think every manager would want him in his team. Ancelotti did sub him quite a lot, I think. But I think he did have an impact in the Premiership. He did play well. And I think Benitez would want to keep him. But would he want to go and play for Benitez in the style of football that Benitez plays? Probably not. He's a lot more hard work for him. So he'll be seeing that Benitez is coming in and thinking, nah, I'm away to East Milan to lose the Italian league.
Do we see him making the move?
Yes.
Well, I think James Rodriguez, again, has the international tournament fallacy. It was the 2014 World Cup with Colombia where he had
Colombia.
an absolute standout game, standout tournament. And then since then, it's never really reached those heights. Even in the Premier League last season, he played a couple of good games at the beginning and then went flat afterwards.
A few good assists.
So I don't know if he's somebody that will sell shirts. So I think he's actually an economic move rather than a player move. Will AC Milan suit him? Maybe. I don't know the AC Milan team well enough to actually make comment.
I just think he looks quite nifty in a red and black strip.
While it looked like I hadn't thought this through when I was linking all the countries,
it didn't look like that at all, Jake, did it?
No. You flew from Italy to fly to Italy.
But talking about impression at tournaments, Locatelli, possible move to either Arsenal but more likely Juventus.
Looking at my telly.
Well,
nobody's looking at your telly. There's like watershed, post-watershed stuff on your telly. We're not going there.
Oh, so you're going to see junk food adverts on Martin's TV? Oh, wonderful.
It's actually Coco Melon.
It's Coco Melon. So Locatelli to either Arsenal, but possibly more likely Juventus.
Definitely Juventus. Not going to that team north of London in red.
But he might go. He might go when Graham Potter gets the job.
Well, that's only be this transfer window. He's going to be at Juventus. So
thoughts on obviously a big move for him.
It's not a big move. It's moving to the same country. Not too far.
But obviously a bigger team.
Hey, didn't even have to jump in a plane.
Yeah, I know. Climate efficient. You get a train. Good for him. But again, the fallacy of international football. I always be wary. Look at the stats in club football before you purchase somebody on the back of an international tournament.
Yeah.
And it depends who the Juventus manager is and what system he plays. Because he might have a good tournament, but if he doesn't suit the system, then don't sign him.
Doesn't look like he'll be playing with Ronaldo either. He looks like he's outdoor at Juve.
James, you managed to make all that sound like watching paint dry was so much more interesting.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You did that in that monotonous way that you do. It was very exciting.
Thank you.
Matt,
right, Bruce, have you got any more? Have you got any more transfers there, or
that is my list. All dry do. You carry on with your fake ones.
Dried out.
There's no fake ones. Just like the paint and the blotchy parts. Right, so you're looking at a couple of really ones that I think will affect teams, because I think teams like Liverpool are going to struggle when the African Cup of Nations come up, because you've got Salah, who's going to be away for a bit, play for Egypt. You're going to have Mane, who's going to be away for a bit. So I reckon they're going to have to buy somebody in. So you're looking at a couple of players for that. One of them that was mentioned was Doku, who we've mentioned earlier. The other player who has been mentioned about it, and I really want this to happen, is John McGinn. I've since found out that that's not happening, but if John McGinn can get a £50 million move anywhere, Hibs get a sell-on fee, and I think it's 15%, so something originally
Martin,
7 million. That's great.
Martin,
Great.
pipe
So John McGinn.
Pipe down, eh?
What's up, Bruce?
That's no happening.
It could happen.
It's no happening.
It could happen.
Just because Salah's away playing for Egypt and Mane's playing for Senegal for a month, do they actually need to buy 2 players?
Have Liverpool not got cover? Surely Klopp's got cover.
I think they'll be replacing cover. I think they do need a lot of players in certain positions. I think they will buy this transfer window, and it'll be top names. The other teams looking to offload players or buy players. I'm hearing Morelos away to Porto. Bruce, put Morelos away. Is he going to go? Bruce? He's a dicky man,
How often have we?
So is Morelos.
No. So how often have we heard of Morelos being linked with a team, and then there was this whole kind of high-end sale, yet here he still is putting the ball in the back of the net occasionally.
If he's not off the court, he'll be sent off many more times.
Yes, definitely. And the other ones I wanted to mention, Messi, Ronaldo, Mbappe and Haaland. But Haaland, I think, will probably stay where he is. Ronaldo looks like he'll be moving. Messi's contract up. Probably won't move, but there is a possibility of moving. And Mbappe looks like he could move. Now they're big signings, and they're the sort of signings that could win you leagues. So I'd like to see Ronaldo.
Messi's coming to Rangers, isn't he?
No, the only thing Messi and Rangers is Morelos' haircut. And
their finances.
Yeah, the finances are extremely messy. Yeah, that's most of the ones I've got. The other one that I've got written down here is Christie to Palace. So I would suggest that they should.
I'll drive on
that. I would suggest that they have the season ticket holders that are sitting behind the goals. Just watch where you're sitting. If you're directly behind the goals, you're all right. If you're a wee bit further away, you might get a ball in the face.
It's huge.
The other one is Nisbet. Nisbet has been linked with Celtic as well. Griffiths obviously re-signed a contract with Celtic.
Do you need some time? But we look at getting you some professional help.
Nah, to be fair, we got him extremely cheap. If we can sell him on for $4 million,
exactly.
It was a definite investment. You've got to take into account that you're a team that's going to take players in cheap, and if you're giving a lot of money for them, you'll take it and you'll try to reinvest that within the squad and take your squad higher up.
But will Nisbet is Nisbet likely to play regular at Celtic? Like in the grand scheme of things.
I think it depends what Celtic goes and what. I mean, he's a hard-working striker, so
James, your thoughts?
To play 10, 15 games a season.
He's a rotational player.
He's not a replacement player. He is the squad.
No, I said rotational.
Oh, rotation. Yes, he is the rotational player. He will play 10, 15 games a season if he comes. Probably score 10, 15 goals in those games. He knows the Scottish League. He can put the ball in the back of the net in Scotland. And then he's that player that after a season or two of doing that could be in contention of being the number one striker at Parkhead. He's not ready to be Celtic's main striker at the moment, but he's got potential to improve. But
yes, still young laddie.
Yeah, come into the squad, play well, score goals when you're in the team, and then put yourself in contention to get that number 7 jersey.
James, has there been any transfers that you've noticed that you're looking forward to, or
I saw one that cracked me up, which was James Tavernier to Manchester United. I was like, that's a good bit of humour. But yes, there are a few that I've noticed, and funnily enough, they're all Celtic related. So bear with me.
Bash on, James.
James, just did I see something about Ayer? Who was Ayer meant to go to?
A lot of teams.
A lot of teams.
I've seen some, and I can't check just now.
I like Ayer.
I'm on my phone, so I would disappear. But did I see someone was likely to go for somebody else instead of Ayer?
Yes.
No, I just can't remember who it was. I'm not bringing very much to the table here. I saw it now that you mentioned Celtic. I saw that somebody was likely to go down a different angle than Ayer.
You say that you don't bring much to the table, Bruce, but at least you're consistent.
Thanks very much. I'm a bit like Hibs.
So one player that's
we're not consistent.
One player that Celtic have been linked to is a 19-year-old centre-back called Mario Vuskovic, and we're linked to sign him for £4.5 million. He's already in the first team for Hajduk Split of Croatia, and he is being linked as one of the best upcoming central defenders in Europe.
So he's going to grow to be like Shane Duffy.
I don't think anyone's claiming that Shane Duffy's one of the best defenders in Europe.
No.
So I think that's the type of player that Celtic should be going for. Young, up-and-coming talent. We'll agree a 10-15% selling clause for Hajduk Split, but Celtic will make a lot of money out of that in a few years' time. So I think that is a very promising Celtic signing, if it comes true, but apparently it's very close. Another one that we've been linked with.
James, Eddie Howe was also very close.
Yes, that's true. It's true. It's not over until the fat lady sings. Or, in other words, until Bruce sings. Sorry, Bruce.
Good thing I don't sing often.
No, another one that we've been linked with is somebody called Kenneth Powell. He'll be my first Celtic pal. He is a left back, 23 years old, from Holland. He currently plays for PEC Zwolle, a very attacking left back. Never heard of him before, but I've watched him on YouTube since our link with him. Very attacking left back, lots of assists, lots of crosses, and apparently would get him for £900,000. So I think that's a good one just to go for. And then the other one that we've been linked with that is not Kevin Nesbitt is Aaron Hickey, who's also left back. I think that one's more of he's Scottish rather than an actual definitive link, but we'll see. Yeah, I can't hear you, Martin.
No, this is a player that sorry, every time I touch my earbuds they go on mute. This is a player that Celtic had on the books, sold to Hearts, then got Hearts to sell on, got a sell-on clause in with the sell-on, but are now buying them back because he already made money from his last sale.
Yes, but I'd like to remind you, Martin, that you're about to sign Jordan Sancho, who has a 10-15% selling clause to Man City. So you're actually giving the rivals about £10 million for buying one of their youth products.
That happens. It's I don't think Man City will. They're not going to go out and buy Ronaldo with the winnings of the £10 million.
No, just Harry Kane and Grealish.
Yay! I think Celtic got rid of Hickey because he was a left back, and you had at the time you had
the best left back in the world.
So he was never going to get game time. Got rid of him. Then Tierney left, so you're now looking at to replace the left back, so you've just got the same player back in, which
And
to be fair,
they
it's
suddenly
not a
went,
bad move. I do like him as a player.
they suddenly went, oh shit, we should probably cover that position.
No.
Aye.
Colin Goalie went on holiday. Then we went for the year.
Yeah. Bowling goalie was a great cover. To then give everybody COVID.
Aye, and then he became infectious.
So, Bruce, any more rumours on your side?
I can't say I've been paying too much attention. I do apologise. I've just been...
Bruce, make one up.
Other than the 14 rumours that you had, you've not been...
No, I said I had 12. We've covered the 12. And then my other one is that Leo Messi might just turn up in Glasgow and come to the blue side, but we know that's not going to happen. But
I think one that could happen, and this is totally making it up, is Raul Jimenez will be Tottenham's main striker next season.
That's a good possibility. The other player I really like for Wolves is Moutinho. For Wolves, he's maybe a bit slower, but Neves as well. And it's one of the things where you start taking all your best players for your last team with you.
And Real Patricio and Conor Cody. We'll get a comfortable mid-table finish.
which is fine because Everton's going for top 6.
Yes.
Anyway,
if we're finished with rumour mill, we will go to our round table. And today, on the day of recording by Bruce, today's recording is happening on the 4th of July, USA Independence Day. So I thought it would be good to go completely off tack and not tell you about this in advance.
Thanks
for that.
To ask who your favourite American football player is, as in American soccer, a person who's American who plays football as we know it. Who is your favourite football player from the USA and why? Because you look more deep in thought, Bruce, I'm going to ask you first.
Thanks for that.
You've got a couple of easy ones.
Well, so I'm going to go with DeMarcus Beasley.
Is that because he played for Rangers?
It's partly because he played for Rangers. And obviously that then links to America because that's his nationality.
Couldn't have went with Claudio Reyna?
Yeah, no, we're going to go with DeMarcus Beasley. Quite liked him as a player, but also happened to meet him, so that's always good. So yeah, no, for those reasons alone, nothing exciting from me.
Because you've met him.
And he played for Rangers, and I quite liked him as a player.
Martin, your favourite USA football player?
I have two. I won't say them both in case one of them's yours, James. I like the
I bet the one you choose, James's.
I like the Fulham, I think he's a striker, Clint Dempsey.
Yes.
I can always remember his goals against, I want to say Juventus, in the European game. I can't remember, it was UEFA Cup game. I just thought he was a bit of class. I liked him.
Yeah. As you know from my Thursday night performances, goalkeeping is a position.
That was my other one.
Well, I don't think you'll know. I think it might be a different one I'm thinking of. There's two. I think you'll be thinking of Tim Howard.
Yeah.
I'd be thinking of Brad Friedel.
Blackburn,
Tottenham, and Villa keeper. He was a cracking keeper.
He was.
Not flamboyant, but got the job done. Good shot stopper. Yeah, cracking goalkeeper.
I think the thing with Americans is a lot of the sports they play are handball sports, American football, basketball. So when you get a sporting player going over to football, you do get a lot of good goalkeepers.
Mm-hmm. None of us mentioned Pulisic, interestingly.
No, that's only because Gavin and Mitchell's not here.
Exactly.
It's not very good anyway, to be fair. I get it.
And then there's the young guy coming through Dortmund. That's not a surprise. Young player coming through Dortmund who's American. He's supposed to be better than Pulisic, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's interesting. Not a fun round table. You mentioned 4th of July, which counts. Woohoo! Fireworks, burgers.
Yay! Happy Colonial Uprising Day.
And if there's one thing we like, it's a day that celebrates independence.
Yes, we do. 23rd of June. Ooh. You'd like that, Bruce. It's also the anniversary of the Battle of Bannockburn.
Well, there you go, see.
Yes. But
and people say we don't go political on our sport podcast.
But yes, happy 4th of July, American viewers.
Yeah, there's no way we've got an American viewer. If you're an American viewer,
one of you.
We do have an American viewer.
If you're an American viewer, can you please comment at all and just see if you're there, and we'll mention you in the next podcast.
If you could comment, I think Bruce is amazing, then that would be phenomenal.
And if you're not clearly a serial liar, then you can just say anything. To be fair, if you've made it this far in the podcast, which I don't think many people do, just comment anything. We'll mention you on the next podcast.
And this is a challenge we're laying out to Gavin, Bob, Shahan. If you
sorry, who was that one before Shahan?
Bob.
So
you may have
can I just mention that obviously the whole Denmark, I meant to mention this when we were talking about Denmark, but obviously my team bet Bob's, which I took quite a lot of pleasure out of, because Bob had Czech Republic. Exciting.
That's good to know.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks for adding that, Bruce.
You're very welcome. I like to add.
Just made Bob switch off before the end. Because I'm sure that he is listening. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Yeah. I think you've met him a few times, Martin. He asked who he was. I think you've met him a few times. You'd recognise him if you saw him.
I can't remember him being in the podcast.
No.
He was the one that mentioned that Rangers died.
I remember him.
Oh yeah, I remember him. That was great.
We don't talk about him.
Rangers fan that tells the truth. Who would have thought?
So yeah, we're here, reached the end, and we don't know how to summarise.
No.
So thank you for watching the Sports Hub podcast. As I said at the beginning, please like and follow us on all social media forums. But also, let us know your thoughts on the Euros, who's going to win. It's not going to be Denmark. Sorry, Bruce.
It's exactly going to be Denmark.
Let us know if you agree with the sensible conclusions we came with Benitez and Vieira.
And Nuno.
Hopefully disagree with us on Nuno, who should not be manager. And yes, let us know your favourite rumour in the transfer window. And then as a challenge for the one person watching, comment your best fantasy rumour. And we can see if we can get it trending on the Twitter page. Just make up a rumour and we'll try and get it trending on the Twitter page.
#United Rangers.
I said realistic made-up transfer. Raul Jimenez to Tottenham. I think that's one we could get.
Martinez to Man U.
So Bruce, a realistic one to your team. Go quickly, and then we can.
Nah, that involves a lot of thinking.
Yeah. Okay. So you can comment. So we have.
Thanks,
You can comment on the podcast as well. Thank you very much. But yes, thanks for watching.
Podcast.